Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome to today's explainer. Today, we're unpacking a really incredible, true rags to riches story about a young man named Arjun. We're going to look exactly at how sheer, stubborn perseverance can overcome the heaviest of village doubt. It's honestly a brilliant case study on human resilience. As you'll see, it really shows us that when the world tries to tell you exactly who you absolutely have the power to just rewrite the script entirely.
You will never be able to do anything in life. Just pause and imagine that for a second. Imagine the heavy psychological weight of hearing those exact words ringing in your ears every single day, right? This wasn't just some passing comment from a stranger. This was the collective, crushing doubt placed on Arjun by his very own village. I mean, talk about a suffocating environment. That kind of constant negativity, it would break the spirit of almost anyone.
So let's move into section 1, the world's taunt.
Now, for Arjun, getting labeled a fool was his harsh, everyday reality. He was constantly judged by his neighbors, his peers, the whole community. But here's the thing. There was a massive disconnect between what the village saw and what was actually happening. They called him a fool simply because, yeah, he struggled a bit in his studies and occasionally messed up his chores. But the village only looked at those surface-level flaws. They completely ignored the severe grinding poverty his family was dealing with behind closed doors. They didn't care that his dad was a daily wage laborer barely scraping by, or that his mom was working tirelessly in other people's homes just to keep them afloat. They judged him without ever trying to know his actual story. Which brings us to section 2, poverty and a mother's lesson. And then, without warning, the unthinkable happens. The everyday struggle of poverty suddenly turned into an absolute nightmare when a fatal accident took his father's life. Literally in a single moment, Arjun's world is completely shattered. The family was left entirely destitute. They didn't have a single rupee left to even buy food. And because his dad was the sole earner, this triggered a brutal domino effect. Arjun was forced to drop out of school right away. Education was just a luxury they couldn't afford anymore. So instead of studying, he's pushed straight into working at a brick kiln. Think about that drop for a second. He went from being a struggling student dealing with neighborhood gossip to a child laborer enduring grueling, harsh physical labor just to survive. It was a devastatingly fast descent. But right in the middle of that darkest moment, a profound shift happens. One night, crying in total desperation, Arjun's mother looked at him and said these exact words: "Poverty might be our fate, but giving up is not." Wow. Those deeply emotional words, they acted like a literal lightning bolt for Arjun. It completely shifted his mindset from victimhood to total agency. Instead of breaking him, his mother's words became his ultimate source of strength. He realized, you know what, I can't control my circumstances right now, but I absolutely control how I respond to them.
Let's look at section 3, from struggle to success.
Now, you and I both know success isn't just overnight magic, right? Armed with this fiery new mindset, Arjun decided to completely tune out the village mockery. He stopped listening to the people calling him a fool and channeled 100% of his energy into pure, unyielding perseverance. Let's look at how this builds. Step 1, he dedicated himself to learning a trade, putting in relentless hard work. Step 2, he saved up every penny and opened a tiny, humble tea stall. Step 3, he kept learning, adapting every single day, and used that momentum to gradually expand into multiple shops. And finally, step 4, he leveraged all that compounded knowledge to launch a massive business empire. It's like a giant puzzle coming together, showing us exactly how small, deliberate daily actions compound into truly phenomenal results over time.
And what's crazy is that during those early days, the villagers were actually still laughing at him, pointing fingers and saying, "Look, the fool is trying to become a businessman." But fast forward a few years, the boy they called a fool is now the owner of a multi-million rupee empire. And the whole village, those exact same people who mocked him are now literally standing on their feet in absolute honor of him.
That leads us perfectly into section 4, the real identity. So what does this all mean? It means true wealth is an identity earned through struggle. The so-called fool hadn't just come back to the village with a lot of money. He returned as a deeply respected man. He forced the entire world to see him in a completely new light. On that day, when the villagers stood to honor him, they were lowering their eyes in realization. It finally clicked for them that true wealth isn't just the cash sitting in a bank account. Real, enduring wealth is that undeniable identity forged in the grueling fires of struggle. Money can disappear in a day, sure, but an identity built on that kind of sheer, gritty perseverance, that is yours forever.
Standing on stage that day, Arjun just smiled and delivered these incredibly powerful words. He said,
Circumstances don't break a person. They teach them to be strong. If you believe in yourself, every laugh of the world turns into applause one day. That is such a grounded, profound reflection. It perfectly sums up the mechanics of resilience. When you maintain absolute self-belief, the very mockery that was meant to tear you down, it just becomes the soundtrack to your ultimate success. So as we wrap up this explainer today, I really want to leave you with a vital question to think about. What taunts are you ready to turn into applause? We all have a village in some form, don't we? Critics, doubters, people who only see our surface flaws and completely ignore our circumstances. I challenge you to take Arjun's framework today and reframe your own obstacles. Use their doubt not as a roadblock, but as the raw fuel for your own unstoppable perseverance. Thank you so much for diving into this with me. Remember to keep learning, keep building, and keep moving forward.